When it comes to streaming, gaming, esports, and business, one woman stands above the rest. Welcome to Streamer Class, your number one source for everything streaming. Listen to compelling guest interviews about starting and growing a successful channel and turning your passion for content into a career. Now, here's your host, a two-time partnered Twitch streamer, owner and director of Evasion GG, and overall non-half-asser, Sigma.
Hey guys, welcome to Streamer Class. My name is Sigma, and today we are hanging out with Dotty Hack. Dotty has been streaming since 2017, and Dotty, you've been around the block. So I'm gonna let you take it away and let you introduce yourself to everybody.
Sweet, thank you. Yeah, guys, my name is Dotty. I've been playing Tarkov since 2017. Since the 0.2 patch, like right after the alpha came out. I started gaming, like playing Halo, Counter-Strike, Battlefield, things like that. I was also a former touring musician. As you can see, I've got a drum set right here. I used to tour the US professionally for a little while, and I've been streaming ever since, and just trying to find new ways to make content and have some fun. And luckily, Sigma asked me to come hang out with her for a little bit because she's been one of my longest friends on Twitch since I started.
That's true, because I started streaming in January 2018, and I think you were one of when I got into Tarkov, I think you were one of the first ones that I just kind of started like lurking in the stream, because you were known to be really good with it, and I didn't know shit about the game, and I was trying to be a better teammate. So I kind of hovered around, and it seemed like everybody that asked you a question, you were like totally down to answer it, which wasn't the case with every stream I came by. And so I believe that's how I had found you, was just trying to like lurk through the channels. I don't remember when we officially like kicked off our friendship, but we definitely have like had deep conversations throughout our friendship over the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a long-standing history between you and I. And I remember one of my best friends, Batman's Rage, knew you and connected with him, and he was like one of your biggest fans, and he loved you. And then we all started hanging out, and here we are 4 or 5 years later, still kicking it. And I remember like way back in the day, like there weren't any female Tarkov streamers, and from what I recall, like I think you were one of the first females that really started diving into Tarkov and playing Tarkov, because it seemed like it was such a male dominated game and category. And to see that, and to meet you, and how like you conducted yourself and how much fun you were to hang around, it was just like, I was like, this Sigma's awesome. Like she's going to be around. She's going to be a big name. So she's doing all the right things. And, it's been nothing but good times ever since.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there wasn't very many. I remember when I met my first friend that was a girl that actually played Tarkov. It's a basic chick, and she wasn't a streamer at the time. And I was like, oh my God, we found another girl. Like I was so excited. And I think that actually speaks really loud, because I was warned many times by my guy friends to watch out for being on Twitch, and oh my God, like the men are assholes and you're going to get all this hate. And so I was really prepared for it. And I came over to Tarkov, and it was like completely opposite. Of course, I ran into a few idiots, but everybody was super helpful. And I was like, damn, like this community is amazing. So that was like a big thing, honestly, for me, because I was so prepared to like fight everybody.
Right. Yeah. And I remember like in the early days of Tarkov, everybody was friends with each other. Everybody was super helpful. And like, if you had any questions, like everybody was there to give you the answers. Everybody was trying to help each other out. Like, and that's one of the testaments to like Tarkov's community as a whole, as a core, of how good it was, because, all of our friends that started streaming back then, like Batty, Kings, Tweak, Clean, like all these guys now, they've found success on Twitch, and they went that route through Tarkov, and it's just been, nothing but success for all those guys since. And it's been really cool to see. So the community's definitely grown and changed a bit since then. But I remember the good old days, and when Veritas and Deadly Slob were making videos and guides, and when Pastilli kicked off his thing. So it's been really neat to see everything like transform over the years, like with everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's grown up through this category. It's nice to see. Honestly, a lot of them deserve it 10 times over. So I'm grateful that we knew them before the hype happened.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps. So I'm actually have questions, and we don't have to follow just only a format. But the first one is, where does your name come from? And tell me about that first stream. So those two will get you started. And by the way, Dotty and I are drinking. He's been dealing with COVID,
Cheers.
so he's finally drinking. And I've been working out for 6 weeks and haven't drank. So yeah, we thought best time
Cheers,
to do
you
this
guys.
together. Exactly. So cheers.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of wrap all the way back, I used to play Battlefield and Counter-Strike, when I could first get my hands on a PC back in like 2003. And when I really started gaming online, when the internet became prevalent in most households, was around like 2005, 2006. And I was really big into anime when I was a kid. I used to watch like Big O, Ghost in the Shell, Dragon Ball, like Inuyasha, like Gundam, like you name it. There was one particular anime that I really liked called Dot Hack Sign, which was a really cool anime like from the 90s. And I initially started off just like using that as like an alias, like Dot Hack. And then over the years, as I played Counter-Strike with a group of friends and became like really competitive, everyone just started calling me Dotty. Dotty just kind of became synonymous and was my nickname. And then eventually when Twitch came around, I was, I kind of just went with the Dotty Hack as like the moniker and the alias. And it's just excuse me, it's just been like, that's just kind of been how it's gone since, so.
Yeah, and it was when I met you, it was Dotty, and then Hack was spelled with a 4 for the A, right?
Yeah.
And then you ended up getting the name, I think, before you even made partner, and everybody was like, Dotty, how the hell did you do that? Like, and you said, well, I just keep checking to see if I can change it. And I remember people just telling everybody about that, like, you got to check your name, because most of us had, an underscore number or something.
Oh,
yeah, and you were like, just check it, guys. Find out if you could take it.
There was like a little website you could check the availability, and I swear to you, I checked for about 3 years prior to when I actually like switched it over. So I remember when I was working at Amazon, I was in the warehouse, and every day I would like log on, check, see if it was available, try to change it. No, fuck. All right, well. All right, I'm just going to try the next day. And then after I got into the Tarkov world, like 5-6 months in, I saw that it was open and available. And I was like, yes, it's finally time. This is exactly what I wanted, and changed it. And I was surprised that no one really knew how to change their alias, at least back then. So
yeah. So tip out there, check your damn name. What website, do you know what website it was, or did you just use Twitch?
I think it was just through Twitch. I forget like which specific like spot directly, but I know it's something that you can actively access like just through Twitch's website itself.
Okay, so there you go for streamers that are out there wondering if they can get rid of the 4 and make it an A or whatever, the 3 instead of an E. You can always check that out. So we had talked before. I know that you streamed a little bit before you took this like on the road for really doing this, but what was your first few streams like? Were you just kind of messing around? When did you like say, oh shit, I'm gonna take this and be serious?
A lot of my first few streams, especially like when I was doing Counter-Strike, and then ultimately when I jumped into PUBG, was just really quiet. I had done a lot of streams only when I had friends around, because if people weren't in my like chat or channel, I found that I didn't have anybody to engage with, and I wasn't like being more active. So obviously like with PUBG, we'd all squad up. So it'd be 3 or 4 of us just communicating the entire time. And it was, or in Counter-Strike when we're doing like a match, it would just be easier to like talk and communicate with everybody else, so you could kind of drive that engagement, drive that content, and then you weren't worried about like looking at chat and reading chat all the time and having to respond to somebody. It was mostly just about you actively engaging in the game itself, in the content. So I found that to be pretty helpful. Then when Tarkov came around, boy, I was quite literally terrified of that game at first, and so many jump scares and screaming and just yelling all over the place. And what I found myself doing was, after every stream, I would go back and I would just look at the quality of my stream. I would just look at, was the audio good? Was the color good? Was the pixelation, to a minimum? Like, what were AV things that I could improve to just keep bettering the experience for other people that wanted to watch? Because I knew that Twitch was lucrative and it could become lucrative. So I was trying to find ways to make it as successful as possible. And in the early days, my streaming rig, which was originally my gaming computer, I tied it into a like shitty laptop with a plugin called NDI, I believe, where I'd send like all the audio and video to that. So the laptop could do all like the stream processing, so I wouldn't have to worry about doing it on my my main gaming computer. So I've technically had like a dual PC setup for a long time.
Okay.
I was doing it in such a cheap, like minuscule way back then, but it helped so much when I only had like a 6700K and a 1080. So I was just always trying to find ways to improve video quality, audio quality, the hardware that I was using, and things like that. When I first started streaming, and I was looking back at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is important. We've talked about it quite a bit throughout all of the other interviews I've done. And I think everybody agrees that, looking back on your stream and seeing how it sounds or how it looks really does help you improve. But then also the audio, and being a drummer and a musician, I'm sure that stands out to you even more than your average streamer, because you know how important it is.
Oh, absolutely. Even if I noticed like my voice was like 30 milliseconds off the audio, like from the camera, it was bothering the hell out of me. And I'd spend all night trying to sync it or figure out like what technique I could do to make that, or to eliminate that like latency. And try to find like the best solution for it. And I still have a lot of problems like with this drum set being digital and going into another machine, and then timing the audio with the main computer that I use going into the second computer. It gets to be a little bit technical and frustrating, but I like those kind of challenges, and I'm a big audiophile, so that kind of stuff, like I just nerd out over that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and when you find the actual fix, it's like, oh, thank God. Or I knew it, damn it, why didn't I try that first? Yeah.
You just didn't flick that one switch or light bulb or whatever, and the whole thing just comes undone. It's just like, God damn.
Yep, that's true. So the next question on this was making this a full-time career your original goal? And if not, when did that happen? Like, what switched for you that all of a sudden you were like, oh shit, I could make this something that's my full-time gig?
Right. This is actually going to be a pretty interesting story. So back when I was living in Florida, I think you remember those days when I was living down yonder.
Yep.
I was still touring in a band, and I was working at a bar and Guitar Center, like in between. So I was originally waking up at 7 a.m., going to work at 8 at Guitar Center, getting off work from Guitar Center at 2, driving to my bar at 3 p.m. and being there till 3 a.m. and then going to sleep. And in between, like, touring. So when the band wasn't touring or playing shows or gigging, we'd all just be working. And I worked at a video game bar in Florida, and we had streams up all the time, Summit, Dr. Disrespect, like whoever. That was like the culture, and I had always like had streaming and enjoyed it, and playing video games was always just like a big part of my like upbringing, and it's just a very big part of my life. So eventually I just started trying to work my way out of actually having like a job in like a restaurant or a bar or Guitar Center or wherever, and I just was slowly trying to make that transition from how much time I was putting into an actual job and how much time I was putting into streaming. And back in the day, like the big dogs on Tarkov had like 200 or 300 viewers, like when we first started. It was pretty small.
It was.
And I just remember I was working at Red Robin at the time, and like I would tell my coworkers about it. It's like, I'm just gonna go home and play video games for the night. And they're like, oh yeah, what do you play? And then I tell them like I stream on Twitch and play Tarkov and this, that, and the third. And eventually it started, picking up. I could pay my phone bill with it. I could pay part of my rent with it. And I eventually just decided to start dedicating more time to that, to get it to a point where I no longer needed the means of income from an actual like means of employment. And I was just solely doing it on Twitch. And it took about 2.5 years before I finally got to that point. And I remember one day in June of 2019, I believe, I woke up and I sat there waiting to go into work. And I said to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. I literally wrote an email to my boss and said, I'm not coming into work. I found another opportunity. It's effective immediately. Here's my resignation. And that resignation was Twitch. And that was before I had made partner.
Oh, shit.
I was at like 300 or 400 subs at the time or whatever. I was rocking maybe about 40, 50 viewers on Twitch, but I just had enough of it. I had enough of working for somebody else. I was just done with like being disrespected at work and belittled and like demeaned, and I just knew that I had like a greater purpose in life, and I didn't want to participate in that kind of stuff anymore. So I basically dug my way out. And later on that year I got Twitch partner. So was it worth it? Abso-fucking-lutely. Like every second that I spent in a restaurant or in a bar just made me absolutely miserable. And as soon as I flipped the switch and I was like, I get to play games for a living, I get to sit on my drum set and rock out all day, like I knew that was something that I wanted to have as a part of my life. And so I worked my butt off to get to that point. And luckily Tarkov was in a position where like it was so small, so we could like, we worked our way, all of us worked our way up through that.
Was this June, July? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And then come that September, I remember being at Twitchcon and you were so bummed that you couldn't go to Twitchcon. And then all of a sudden, wildfire through Twitchcon. Oh my God, Dotty is playing with Summit. Yep. And we all came to your channel and we were like, oh my God. And your channel was moving so fast. Like, we were like, he has no idea we're here. And, next thing you know, like people were just like, holy shit, Dotty, you're amazing. And you were helping him through the game. And that was just sick. I remember that so clearly.
I would have to attribute getting partner to interacting with Summit. I don't think if I had hit that mark, I don't know if I would have made it as quickly as I did. And
you would have made it. You would have made it, definitely. I understand saying not as quickly, but I don't think that it was only that, because we've seen plenty of people play with very large names and nobody really sticks around. Right.
Because I remember like a year or so later or wherever it was, like the drops happened. That drop stay happened. And then, I get on just, all right, cool. I'm going to do my 24 hours. No big deal. And then I think Deadly Slob rated me that day. And then I averaged like 80,000 people that day. And I was just like, where is all this coming from? I remember all my mods were literally about to just like off themselves after that day. They had such a stressful time. It was the most wild, ridiculous thing that's ever happened in my life, at least in terms of streaming. And like, I'll just never forget that day and like how ridiculous it was. And like I've even seen you and watched you when you had, Pastilli gave you his big host on a drop day and you had like 80,000 people watching. It's just crazy how that stuff like comes full circle.
Yeah,
when you look back at that. But I remember everybody going to TwitchCon that year, and then all of a sudden, like I guess I got introduced to Summit, and like it was just so much fun. Like I love that guy. I love watching him. I love watching his streams. Like he's such an entertaining individual. And I love the fact that he just plays whatever he wants. You know,
That's true.
just plays whatever he wants and has a good time doing it. And like, you know, just I'm very fortunate to have had some of those encounters that I've had so far on Twitch.
Yeah, and,
sure.
and it was like over multiple days, a couple of weeks, that you guys were running around together. It wasn't just like, just for our audience at home, it wasn't just like a one-time random Summit found you and then that was it. Like there was actually something formed there, and I thought it was great because getting that kind of exposure and actually holding on to some of those numbers really does speak to the kind of streamer that you are. And you've always been, we talked about this before I hit record, was that you were one of the first that I came and hung out because you actually talked to chat. You were answering everybody's questions. And I think that's really important. A lot of new streamers, and I'm sure that you see it, is you go to a channel and they don't even know that you wrote in the chat, and that's because they're new and they're not used to looking over and managing that. You write and they kind of read it and then they just go on about their business and you're like,
right,
wait, respond. But you've always been really good at that.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with my ADHD. So like I'm just constantly bouncing back and forth between games and chat and game and chat, and that's probably why I kill my teammates all the time. So, and Batman will tell you the amount of times that I have team killed him off some dummy stuff is ridiculous, just because I bounce back and forth. I'll be like, he'll be in front of me, he's like, I'm going to check this room, and I look at chat and I respond to something, and then I go in said room and then I just blast him.
Right, just take him out.
Yeah.
But to your credit, by the way, any of the OGs that are listening to this, and for the new people that are listening, Dotty was known as the Glock Daddy throughout Tarkov, and you actually did a 1 to 40 back when 1 to 40 was the thing, just with a Glock, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I did it with like a pom-pom, like the little fuzzy hat. Like I just made it a point to like, I don't have to chat it up in this game. I can just one tap you. But that was really before the whole Alton thing, the Risty, the Mashka, and the flea market. I think that was before flea market.
I think it was
in the game.
Yeah, I think it was. We were all like, Dotty, you're crazy. I can't believe you're doing 1 to 40 with a Glock, but you did it. And some of those kills were so sick. I actually was so impressed with your gameplay that I made a video for you. Because I was like, Dotty, you don't appreciate how good you are at this goddamn game. I'm going to go make this video. Like, look, it's sick. But yeah.
I remember that video, yeah. Well, and one thing that was such a bummer is that like I don't know what happened, but I lost so many of like my best clips on Twitch for no reason. Like a lot of my clips got deleted just as in like this Twitch purge, like with that whole DMCA thing, and I have no idea why. They had no music, nothing. Like there's one clip of me and Josh Guz used to do like those compilation videos, and he did best clips of all time, and this is the only place where this clip exists now. Is I did a labs raid with just a Glock, and like I found a Keter in a box or something like that, and then this 5-man rolls into server room and I dunked all of them just with that pistol and that Keter, and that was the best clip I have ever had all time. Like I think it had like 10,000 views. I posted it on Reddit. Like it was a pretty remarkable clip, and for some reason like it just disappeared.
Okay, I will hunt it down and I will make sure that I put it into this. So right now you're about to see this amazing clip. Okay, so we do have a couple of different questions on here, but I feel like you and I are destined to have a completely different conversation than I normally do with guests. So I'm going to kind of just skip through some of these, and I'm going to go to this one. This career looks like fun all the time, but it can really be stressful. What are you surprised about that you didn't know before?
We definitely touched on this a little bit before we started recording, and I think one of the biggest things that came to my surprise was, if I'm going to be completely honest and transparent with you and everybody else that's watching, was how insecure I was. And with that being said, I didn't realize how much I attached like my own self-worth and success to a numerical value, a stat, an analytic. Whether it was sub count, whether it was viewers, all that. I kept finding myself sitting like with myself at night, like struggling to find positive thoughts about myself, because I was so caught up in, why do I not have this many viewers? Why do I not have this many subscribers? What am I going to do to pay rent and pay my car? Like, how am I just going to make all that work? And that was one of the biggest things that not a lot of people take into consideration, I guess, when they do the full-time thing. You know, if you have a regular job, cool. By all means, such a different ballpark. I know a lot of people that stream for fun, and it is a completely different mindset versus when you do it professionally and you try to do it like full-time. So I think that was probably the biggest thing for me that I was surprised about finding out with myself, was just how insecure I was with all those numbers and analytics. And it even rubbed off to the point where like I started treating my friends and my relationships with people differently, unfortunately, because of that, because I was looking to find that success and I wasn't paying attention to myself and my emotions and my feelings, where I let that kind of stuff, like I got carried away with it. And you know, it upset a couple people. I lost some friends along the way, and you know, it was a big learning point for me. So recognizing that I was vulnerable to a lot of like the mental health hurdles that you can experience with this type of stuff, you know, brought me to, you know, seeing a therapist, talking about that, figuring out a few things about myself and trying to let some of those things go. Because instead of just playing games and having fun, I was worried about how many subscribers I could get that day. You know,
Yeah.
could I keep putting food on the table?
Right.
Can I keep the lights on?
These are real life problems mixed with a good time. And sometimes that, and now you put it, you're somebody who's competitive, right? Most of us are. If you're in the Tarkov land, we're not playing tic-tac-toe while we're waiting for our food to arrive at like most of us are competitive. And then you put us in this setting where it's like, okay, I want to reach this many subscribers, or I have this goal for my stream, and then you don't hit it. It's like, it makes you start looking all over the place, just like you would if you died in a game. Well, what did I do wrong? Well, what about this? Well, why did he live? And I know I've done it. Why do they have so many subs? Why? And not in a vicious way. Like, it's never done with, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's not a bad vibe thing, but it does make you question, like,
it's not malicious.
Right. Like, why does that person have 1,500 subs and I'm over here and I'm streaming 20 hours a week more than they are, or, you know, whatever. And I talk to chat like you do that damn thing where you start comparing yourself to others, and you compare yourself to last month and then the month before. And is it just the time of year? Like, I totally get that 100%. And it can be really just a total bummer on your vibe.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. And, you know, I think the most important thing to remember and recognize is just that, like, at the end of the day, you are ultimately trying to have fun and entertain other people. You're making content, but like, people show up to your stream to have a good time. One of the best examples, and you and I both know this person very well, is Mr. Batty. That guy does not have a bad vibe ever on his stream. And thousands of people love him, show him love, hang out with him all the time. And that ultimately at its core is what, you know, content creation and streaming is all about. And I applaud Batty every day, seeing him do whatever it is that he likes to do and has so much fun doing it. Like, that's the vibe that people should be maintaining when they stream. But a lot of times all of us can get wrapped up in like that competitive aspect, look for answers, reach for justification for like why I don't have X or why I don't have Y. And it gets to be a nasty game. And I know I struggled with that pretty hard for quite a while. And it wasn't until it wasn't until like I started reaching out and trying to do other things where I could just like take that seat back. Like I could just lean back and be like, I just want to have fun today. I don't care how many people show up. I don't care how many subscribers I get. I just want to have a good time. And anyone else that shows up, I want them to have a good time too.
Yeah, and Batty did talk about some of his. I had him on the show, and he talked about some of the struggles that he's seen behind the curtain, and I'm like, wow, because I typically don't look at him and ever, like you said, like he puts out great vibes. I didn't know some of the struggles that he even was facing, and
right.
I think again, a lot of people come into this career, and trust me, it's a kick-ass time, especially when things are going well. It is one of the funnest things I've ever done in my entire life. But yeah, damn it, if you hit a speed bump and you weren't prepared for that speed bump, like most of us aren't, it can be devastating. It can send you into a different course. Even if it's just for the rest of the night, you might even feel like, oh damn, well, I didn't hit my goal today, and it can snowball really quick. Are there like tips and tricks that you have for anybody that might be in a funk right now?
I think the biggest thing that people should probably assess is their level of expectations that they have. So like when I was playing Tarkov and after like the drop bump and like the time playing was the time playing with Summit and whatnot, I thought it was just going to be on the up and up and it wasn't going to stop. And so when I started to see the roller coaster come back down, I panicked. I started panicking. I started like freaking out. I started trying to do things like beyond myself and what I've found as like a core value, to grip onto whatever success it was that I had achieved. Sometimes when I was trying to stream, I would expect like 300 or 400 people to show up. And then when that number, started to deteriorate, I was getting frustrated. And that just pitted me against myself to, stream Tarkov more, go harder, try to find other people to play with more frequently, to just, keep trying to stranglehold that lightning in a bottle that I had captured. And I started, doing things not for my own best interest, but for the betterment of like analytics.
That's true. Expectations is the source of disappointment. Right. With almost anything, right? Like,
yeah.
What are your expectations? I feel like that's
a life thing.
It is like, that's such a good thing for us all to learn that I personally wasn't raised with, like, hey, manage your expectations. You'll manage a lot of other things at the same time. So that's huge. And I don't think your expectations only come from, just one day you wake up and you're like, I'm going to do this like forever and ever. There are things that have led you along the way. Like you said, like my numbers are going up consistently. My subs are going up consistently. It's natural to expect that, but, damn it, if you're not prepared for the worst, you're gonna hit a speed bump.
Right. And I was expecting things to just continuously climb with a lot of the success that I saw, not expecting the roller coaster to come back down. And when that reality sank in, that's when I started to have like a lot of difficulty internally with myself, my own mental health, a lot of those challenges, the anxieties and insecurities that faced along with that, I eventually started seeing a therapist and talking to somebody about it. I was encouraged to go to therapy. I wasn't like, oh, I need to go see a therapist. Like I was encouraged. Someone helped me make that step. And it it helped me get back on track and realize certain vulnerabilities with myself, which allowed me to just, sit in front of the computer, go live in front of people and just try to maintain having fun, not worrying about all the other stuff associated with business and success and analytics, And
that's awesome. What a good thing. And you're not the only one. And you know that, like, I've seen it. I've experienced it. I had a little bit of a wake up call with my health recently, and I just said, damn, like I've put on a lot of weight in 4 years of just sitting at the PC, sometimes 16 hours in a day. Sometimes we're doing 24-hour streams. and just running myself into the ground and realizing that I'm walking into my closet and there's a bunch of clothes I can't wear. I just don't feel good. I've put on all this extra weight. Like, I'm not proud of it. And yet I kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, no, I'll just keep streaming. No, I'll just keep focusing on evasion. No, I'll just keep doing this. And I just kind of had a fuck it moment of this, 6 weeks ago. Like, if I don't start this, it's never going to work. So I have 100% put myself first and focused on the things that I find that are really fun, which is evasion and streamer class. Like, I have a lot of fun talking to streamers and hearing their stories, or helping the new ones, or answering any of the big business questions that all of a sudden smack a streamer in the face. Like, oh shit, how do I pay taxes? Or how do I file an LLC? And certain things that come along with all of that. So I was like, you know what? I'll focus on me and these two other things, and then I'll stream on my personal channel when I can. And I'm happy as shit now.
There you go. Yeah. And that's how you continue to find like the level of success that like you really deep down inside want, not like for selfish reasons, but that's how you find like true success and happiness. I've ventured out into other games, started playing drums more frequently, just trying to do more of the things that I want to do. But going back to your point about like weight gain, like having difficulty like with your body and whatnot, like I put on 25 pounds, I think, myself throughout the pandemic and streaming. I'm starting to get like a lot of hip issues that I didn't have before, with like flexibility and range of motion that I've been needing to work on. And like, I wasn't taking care of myself in the ways that were most beneficial. And like, that's something that could eventually lead to me like not being able to play my drums, which I don't know what I would do at that point.
Yeah.
So like taking a step back from streaming all the time and like going super hard to take care of your body, to take care of your mind, is an absolute must if you're going to get into this industry. I can't tell you how many times I've seen tweets from like Asmongold, Choco Taco just put one out recently of all these guys that have like these challenges and these mental health issues because of streaming and the impact that it has on all of us. I know for a fact that as I've been streaming a lot more and more, I was having very hard time going to sleep. I could not go to bed. I'd be going to bed at 5 a.m., waking up at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and then immediately getting up and being like, oh shit, I overslept. Now I got to jump back on stream and get back to my 8-10 hour day on camera playing Tarkov. And repeatedly doing that not only has like made my vision worse, I've been gaining weight. I was ordering a lot of food during the pandemic too.
Because it's easy. It's so easy.
When money was good, DoorDash. I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to go to the grocery store. Just someone bring me some Taco Bell or whatever real quick, and then I'll just, go to bed. And I developed a lot of really unhealthy habits that I've needed to recourse, to sustain like a good means of living for myself. Getting the exercise that I need, getting the fluids, getting the sleep, all those little necessities of life that keep us going. Because like being a robot in front of a computer screen all day for 10-12 hours a day will wear you down a lot. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
No, because I went from going like, I'm gonna go take a shower and shampooing my hair and thinking, oh, I wonder what I need to grab from the grocery store, or is there something coming up that I need to make sure that I'm prepared for, to, oh my God, I wonder if Rob257854's cat is okay, because he mentioned in chat that his cat wasn't okay. And then what about, and I would like go down a rabbit hole just while I'm trying to shampoo my own damn hair, worried about people that were in my community, because you genuinely care. And those things stick with you. And then if there's somebody in your community that's having a rough go, or somebody's birthday is coming up and you worry like, oh, what if I missed it? Did I check Discord? Did I check Twitter? Did I post to Instagram? Do I need to make a YouTube video? Who's my editor? Like, you just, I know there's so many people out there that go, oh, get a job, streamer. And you're like, you have not a damn clue. All of these interviews that I've done with streamers, I always ask this question and I say, for every hour that you're on live stream, how many hours do you work behind the scenes? And people have said anywhere from 1-to-1 to 1-to-6.
Yeah.
You know, for those guys that are editing all their own videos and running their own social media and trying to manage their own contracts, like they're saying, yeah, if you see me live for 6 hours, 7 hours, that week I might have to work, 1-to-5 on versus that, just to get all the things out that I had laid out for that week. And you're like, this is bonkers. So some of these guys, 80, 90-hour weeks is not uncommon in our field. And
Right.
if you can't grow on Twitch just working 20 hours a week, you're screwed. You have to be streaming 40 hours and be doing all these other things. And that's what runs us
Right.
into the damn ground.
Yeah. Yeah. I know people like One Peg in particular he'll do like 16, 18-hour days on top of being a father, putting out content, streaming, and doing all the things that he needs to do to check off all the boxes. Did I get this update out? Can I push this new video? Does the sponsor approve of this video or this message? Like, there's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes. I've just been kind of one of those guys that just hits the live button, and like, I'm slowly starting to realize like it's not enough, and I've had to change things to diversify content, diversify revenue. Like you and I both know, like, we probably both hate taking those ad revenue, or not the ad revenue ones, those like sponsor plugins that you get, like those activations, like for like the Raid Shadow Legends or whatever.
Right.
But you know what? But some of them at some time, like the offer was just too good. So like you just got to take the bag, because that's just how you're going to make that extra coin this month to, pay for your car, pay for bills. Like, I never liked doing that because I didn't think it was sustainable to like the content that I was trying to provide. And I'd rather partner with companies that like I firmly believe in. Like Blackcraft, the hoodie that I'm wearing, is a company that I've, represented and endorsed and worn for 10 plus years. And just recently they came to me and was like, hey, we want you to be on our Twitch program. And I'm like, yes, this is a family that I actually love and respect and I want to work with. And I think that is 10 times more important, even if I don't even make a cent off that, versus like somebody like Raid Shadow Legends giving me $1,000 to promote their game for like 5 hours. Like,
right. That's true.
It's just a cash grab. It's just a billboard, and like a lot of streamers end up becoming billboards for a lot of those things. But like, from firsthand experience, I've had a lot of those opportunities like kill my viewership, and it's so frustrating. But at the same time, like you're just getting paid, so like you got to do what you got to do. So if you can supplement that in without having to do all the extra work, like by all means. But like, that's something that I do few and far between, because I don't think it's very authentic.
Yeah, and you typically tell your community, like, I feel like I've heard you tell your community before, like, guys, why we're doing this, like, jump in here, and people will help you out as long as you're straightforward with them. Like, yeah, dude, I'll go download it. Who is it? Garlem? I think Garlem told me he has like 15 different email accounts from helping everybody out, with their Raid Shadow Legends. But
yeah.
It's definitely,
you just do that stuff to help out your boys and girls that are, doing this for a living, and try to support them as best as you can. So it gets kind of tough. But like, from what I'm seeing in this industry is a lot of people just becoming like billboards and not actually building relationships with companies that they endorse. And I know, were a very big proponent and like advocate for all those people that were taking that artesian thing for a long. I was so mad. Your face is lighting up. Mad. I know you have so much to say about that. I bet.
Yeah. Do not push these damn companies for just a % of the sales. Like, unless you have a relationship with this company and you're truly working towards something, and they're not just dragging it out, like 10% of what they're making is probably a bunch of bullshit. I don't take deals without it being, a monthly or a stream fee, whatever it is, and then a percentage, like, then we'll work on it. But I just saw so many of these creators, their favorite streamer is sponsored by Artisan, and they were so excited to be part of the Artisan community, and they wanted to genuinely make something of it. And then when they got their what is technically just an affiliate code, right?
Right.
They're like, oh my God, I'm part of the artisan family. And it's like, yeah, you get to just shovel their shit and get what, $100 back per PC.
Yeah. When they make like $3,000 off it, I mean, minus the cost, but like obviously they get almost all the profit. So
God, I
it
was
just
so
felt like,
angry about that.
yeah,
I tried to tell people, but they were like not listening.
yeah. At one point I accepted it and I kind of like looked at it and I was a joke and I was like, I feel like I should be getting a partner offer, not an affiliate thing. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take it. And then like a month later, I just took it down. And like every time they came into my chat, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, guys, like you don't actually do anything. You don't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. I could sell 5 PCs. It's not going to make a difference.
Right.
And like, I get the idea of plastering your company all over as many people as you could. But I think that just shows the level of inexperience that people in that industry don't understand. And coming from the music industry, it's a lot different because like when you get endorsed with a company, like it's a big deal. Like if I were to get endorsed by Roland right now, I would jump off my roof like doing a backflip or something, because like I know that entails something that is more than just like a damn fucking code, right? The code doesn't mean anything. Like it's actually a relationship with a reputable brand that sees value and potential in you. And I never got along with that business practice because to me it felt inauthentic.
It does.
Trying to put your brand all over everyone in the Twitch space like just felt so inauthentic, and like I felt like there was no actual connection with any of the people that they brought on board. And then we all saw what happened on that stream, which showed all of the true colors to everybody in the world. And then boom, the whole company disappeared like overnight because of that. It
sure did. And they just recently filed bankruptcy. Smart marketing plan, right? I mean, sure. I got to give credit where credit's due.
Sure.
Smart marketing plan, because new streamers are so excited. I got to choose my words carefully here because I don't want to insult to anybody, but we are so excited to have a brand recognize us and to feel validated in what we're trying to do that you're willing to lower the bar a little bit. Plus, nobody's out there actually talking about how much they're making off of some deals. You know, I'm not going to say what streamer this was, and you know, maybe he speaks up later on. I got a deal from a company to do you know, to have their logo going, run their command every 20 minutes and build this thing on stream. And I had to have at least 30 minutes to build this, right? And I got paid like $500. And I had negotiated them up. I was like, no, like I'm not going to do that. I was averaging like maybe 90 viewers at the time, maybe 100, somewhere around there. I wasn't even a partner yet. And this other person got super excited and wrote me a couple months later and said, oh my God, Sigma, guess what? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm doing this stream tomorrow. Dude, they're going to pay me $250. And he was averaging like 20 to 25 more people an hour or you know, per view than I was. And I was like, oh shit. Like nobody talks about this stuff. So it gets really hard when you have a company that can schmooze, and you know, obviously the owner of Artisan could schmooze tons of people. He was out there making people feel validated, and it fucking sucks. So I hope that anybody that listens to this knows, like, look over your contracts, try to figure out what your stream might actually be worth. You know, I try to do calculators in my head all the time that I could maybe give to new streamers to say, hey, here's one thing that could tell you maybe how to validate what you should be asking for, but I can never come to a perfect number, and that stresses me out. But maybe one day I'll do a video on my different things that I've been paid for throughout the years.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's hard to determine your worth when that worth is tied to viewership. I think we all know that, like, that's the biggest driving factor is your CCV. And what that company was doing was borderline predatory. It wasn't it wasn't like distinctively predatory because people were none the wiser. But as somebody who's been in the music business, as somebody who is now in the Twitch space and in the Twitch world, like I kept seeing that happen all over the place. And I'm like, you guys literally are not going to benefit from this whatsoever. Especially for people that had like, you know, very, very small channels. Like, good for you. You got something that you could showcase. You can build off that. You can have the momentum for it. But like, I didn't see it being beneficial to any of those people involved. And to see what happened, like come full circle, like I'm not surprised that that saga ended the way that it did.
No, not at all. I mean,
surprised.
I'm not out here trying to wish bad on anybody, but at the same time, most of us were like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll sip that tea all day and read that because, like, looking back on that, like, they reap what they sow. They reap what they sowed. And, you know, I'm glad to see other companies, like, doing so well, like Stints. Gentleman Stints, his company is doing such a good job.
Yeah,
they've built so many relationships, so many good PCs. The owner reaches out to people directly. He reached out to me to just have a little quick conversation at one point. Like, I feel like that's way more authentic. So the whole point, I guess what I'm trying to say is authenticity brings respect. And if you're upfront and honest about this type of stuff, like, I think that has an immense value than your CCV, than how many people can, you know, profit off of you or whatever. Like that authenticity is what can make or break a relationship in a lot of these deals, in a lot of these agreements and partnerships that people like get themselves involved with. So I caution a lot of people to make sure that they understand their worth when they are approached by a company, and making sure that they're not being taken advantage of or just being used as a billboard.
Yeah, so true. So, it is.
And I know you've said that many a times on Twitter.
Yeah, I try, and I'm not going to shut up about that because I want people to explore it more. And I'm glad that you brought it up and talked about it. And by the way, speaking of stints, I have never had a sponsor. I've gotten many offers. I've never had a sponsor for Evasion other than BSG is sponsoring the actual cash prizes. But if you go to evasion.gg, boom, there's Stints' logo. Because I had such a great conversation with the guy. He's really proven himself after the whole shit show went down. He jumped in and started helping people that he did not have to help. And to me, like, he already had a good reputation that he was, you know, building throughout the different communities in general. So I knew of him. But when the shit hit the fan and he silently started helping people, he wasn't looking for shout outs. He wasn't looking for them to put their logo all over his stream. He just genuinely wanted to help some of the people that were affected. That's when I was like, I'm going to reach out and contact him and say, hey, like, you want to collab on some of this? Because I don't mind, like you said, authenticity. I don't mind yelling stints from the rooftops through Evasion or here on the show if he's going to be that way. And it seems like he is just on it. And I'm so grateful because after we all went through the hellstorm watching Artisan, you know, nosedive into the ground, thank God that we had so many other PC companies out there, Stints being one of them, that wanted to jump in and help.
Right. Yeah. So for all you guys watching out there, authenticity is like, it's number one. That's a big deal. And being authentic shows a lot more shows everyone else in the community that you care and that you give a shit. And that's what's ultimately going to want, like, to drive people back to your channel, to build relationships with you, to build partnerships. So ultimately, at the end of the day, like, I think that's one of the biggest things that you can do if you're trying to move into this world, this space, is just be authentic.
This is what I want to get into. Speaking of authenticity. So my pet peeve, and it wasn't even, I didn't notice it until it was pointed out to me, was somebody in the community said, I will not host, and this is a big streamer. So they said, I will not host somebody until I go to their page and I check out their page, unless I know them, right? If I know them, then I already know that they don't have this problem. I will go to their page, any small streamer, and if their donate button is the first thing that I see in their panels, I move on and I find somebody else. And I was like, huh, like, I didn't think about the panels that much. So after they said this, now I'm like a panel guru, right? Like every time I go to a small streamer, I look, and if it, a lot of times I'm realizing that it's like donate, and then there's a paragraph about why you should donate to them and the rules around donating and all that. And then there's an about section and it has one sentence. And that's it. They have no other panels. There's nothing else around. Like it's just barren land. And you're like, dude, like that's all that you have there, you know? And like the one sentence is like, I've been playing games since I was 5. And you're like, that's all I get to learn about you. Like you're not live. Somebody told me to check you out. And all I can see is a fat donate button and a whole paragraph on why I should donate to you. But the about section says you've been gaming since you were 5. Like, thanks a lot for all the info. So my big pet peeve is when people don't have panels. I can't learn about them. There's not a bunch of links set up, and you know, it's always just a big fat donate button. So when you go to a small streamer's channel, and I'm sure that you probably visit them here and there, is what is the first thing that always stands out?
Usually if I'm just going to raid like a random person that I don't know before I'm getting off, I usually just try to look at their vibe. Like while they're on stream. I guess I didn't really look down at the panel. I mean, you literally just had me go check my own panels right there for a second. So
my bad. Sorry.
Like, wait a minute. Hold on. What? Oh, snap. No, but usually like when I go to somebody's channel, I'll try to just see what their vibe is, see if they're like respectful and not like, oh, get shit on, nerd. Like I don't like to host those type of people. Yeah, I think the person's vibe and making sure that like they're not coming to the end of their stream, and just making sure that they're like, you know, not going to be a jerk bag to you know, if I'm dropping off the kids at the end of the show. But yeah, so I'll usually look for something like that and make sure that like the audio video stuff's, you know, like pretty in line. I've always kind of found it more beneficial to raid down is what I like to how I like to like categorize that, like who could benefit from me rating them, not what can I get out of rating somebody else. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to raid Pestilly or Landmark all the time just so like my name pops up. Like I just feel like, again, I feel like that's just really inauthentic. What feels more authentic to me is rating somebody that has like 3 or 4 viewers that might get a cut like 4 or 5 follows off of a raid, boost up their numbers, maybe helps them get affiliate, you know, things like that. So first and foremost, it's the vibe. It's is this person somebody that is enjoyable? Is this somebody that's going to be fun to hang around? Or, you know, like you said, is this person going to read and engage in chat? You know, the one thing I will say though is I will not raid somebody, especially a small streamer, if they have the followers only on their chat.
Oh, thank you. That's so good. It is such a thorn in my side when I see it. I'm like, please remove that. It doesn't help you unless you've been botted on that day, right? At that moment, you're still dealing with bots and it's been like 10 minutes since they stopped. There's no damn reason for you to have followers only on. It is so irritating, and you're actually losing people that genuinely want to come in and interact with you. Right.
So I think the statistic on Twitch is like 3 out of every 10 people that get hit with a pre-roll ad leave your stream. So already 30% are leaving. If you have followers only on, I imagine you could double that. So I had like 6 out of 10 people are going to leave, probably even more, if you have followers only on. If you're one of those smaller streamers, if you're not having like any difficulty, obviously, you know, if it's a huge day, if it's like a drops day or something, and you don't want to deal with the bullshit, and you've got 12,000 people in your chat, and you want to throw followers only on to kind of slow things down, like by all means, like that's what you should do. But if you're trying to grind to affiliate, for those of you out there that aren't there yet, like don't have that option on, because that's only going to stifle you. It's not going to help you with what you're trying to achieve.
That's true. That's true. Like you said, unless you're dealing with something and that's been a tool that's been implemented to deal with that situation at that given time, there's no reason to have it on. I love that you said that though. Thank you, because there's been plenty of times where I've accidentally gone and raided somebody and I didn't even know that they were followers only because I had already followed them. And then I'll say something here that I've seen recently is be prepared for a large raid. Know how to turn off your alerts. Make sure you don't have followers only on, like Dotty said.
Right.
Make sure you're running your pre-roll ads whenever you possibly can. If you're a Tarkov player, that's super easy to do. Just before you get into the next raid, run it. But there are so many people that are not prepared for a large raid, and it will happen. It will happen at some point. And you want to make sure that you are 100% engaged with the audience that just got dropped off to you. So you can still be really excited, but know what tools are available to either, turn off certain alerts. Like, you definitely don't want followers only to be like blasting some dumbass song across your stream. You want to be composed enough to thank the person that rated you. And then whatever you do, whatever game you are playing, get into it quickly. You can always thank people later. A general thank you is totally allowed. Like, hey guys, thank you for all the follows. Don't fucking say everybody's name if you have hundreds of new followers, please. So,
right. Yeah.
That would be something that recently I saw happen, and I was like, man, I just never tell people to be prepared. How do I have like streamer class and I still don't blast this from every rooftop I possibly can? Be prepared.
Right. Well, like you said, having those tools is a big thing. Like on my stream deck, I can mute my alerts. I can skip alerts if I need to. I can easily turn on like emote only mode or whatever if I have any issues. Like I have so many fail safes for all those circumstances just in case it happens. In fact, I don't even have followers on my channel anymore just because I've seen and heard so many horror stories about people getting botted where like I just avoid that completely altogether. Now I'll still acknowledge people when they follow. If I catch the message, I can be like, oh hey, Dark Lord 420, like thank you for the follow. When I see it, but like it's not going to pop up for me on stream just because I know that how many people have had issues with that in the past.
True.
And another thing I'll say is like make sure like if you are coming into streaming and you're new to it, make sure your alerts are like short and sweet. Like don't make a 15-second alert for a follower or a subscriber. Like
please,
when you start having those trains, when you start having those variations, that's all you're going to hear. And like, it might be fun and interesting for a little while, but I think eventually it gets old and it'll burn some people out. So I think the best advice I could give is keep those alerts short and sweet. Like keep something like under 5 seconds.
Yeah, because I know that we all have our favorite song, and when you're starting out, like following is the cool thing to do, right? You're like, oh dude, I got followers, let's blast our favorite song and let's celebrate it, because I'm only getting 3 or 4 a stream. But I promise you, the second that you start getting 7 or 8 and 10 and 11, which will probably happen pretty quicker than we think it'll happen, you're gonna be frustrated because you're gonna be there redoing your alerts, and now you're putting those hours behind the scenes like we talked about earlier. That stuff can come out of nowhere, and you'd be like, damn, I didn't realize I spent 20 hours this week working on literally just my stream.
Yeah.
So
and that's something that I will never, like, I've kind of gotten lazy with that since I have everything set in place. I've actually been in need of like a massive graphical overhaul. I've just been super lazy and not interested in actually doing it. But yeah, that is something that you have to put a lot of time and effort into. Your sub badges, your emotes, your Twitter header, your display icons, all that kind of stuff. Like you do have to make sure that a lot of that stuff is at least presentable, to make sure that it looks somewhat professional for people.
like, what are some really easy low-hanging fruit that new streamers could do to make them look more professional that they probably don't do or don't even know about yet?
Just having the ability to identify like your social handles and keep them all like together, conjoined, is probably a big thing that people need to make sure that they have. Because what's worse than having someone's Twitch handle different from their Twitter handle that's different from their YouTube handle?
Ooh, and their Discord.
And their Discord, yeah. And so like it gets immensely difficult to find the information on somebody when it's not all concise and conjoined and consistent. That's one thing I noticed from a lot of people, that would be more beneficial for them. Like if all of their handles were identical or very close. Obviously, like certain things you can't control, like Twitter and Instagram, or Twitch. So like sometimes it gets hard lining all that stuff up. But doing your best to like make all that stuff concise and conjoined is probably a huge thing. And just having one place with all of your resources where you can get all your links, all the different avenues to whatever kind of content people want to access from you, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. As far as like actual stream stuff goes, just make sure your audio is good. People can deal with Tarkov because Tarkov looks like shit when you stream it. So just make sure that audio is at least level and balanced. Like, have a decent quality mic, put some effects on your mic to make it sound, authentic, or not authentic, but like presentable. So that way that experience is at least enjoyable for your audience, or maybe new members, especially people that just kind of leave your stream up and lurk and then do work. They're just listening. They're not actually like watching and actively engaging. So if your audio is not good, why is somebody going to want to lurk when they're hearing nails on a chalkboard every 5 minutes? That's just not a pleasurable experience.
Yep, that's true. That's very true. So something that I do get asked quite often is, what is the best way to network with others, to collaborate? And you and I both were nervous about this. I know we talked about this back when we had kind of started out. We were hovering around that 20 or 30 viewer mark, and we were like, hey, you want to run sometime, whatever. But how did you feel was the best way to approach going after, let's say, and by the way, I try to be very realistic with the listeners here, and I always say, if you're averaging 5 to 10, you need to go hang out with the people that are 15 to 20. Don't go after that guy that's at 100 or 150. Like, you need to just bump yourself up a little bit. But they always get really nervous, like, I don't even know how to collaborate with people. So what's your advice for these guys that are, and girls? I heard girls stream. Yep. What's your advice for them on how to maybe network some more?
I just want to say that there are a lot of ladies in the Tarkov community, and I am super happy to see all the success and the diversity in the community. So I just want to encourage you ladies to keep doing what you're doing. You guys are fucking killing it.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
Yeah. As far as networking goes, I definitely agree with staying within your means. And this is something that bothers the absolute shit out of me. Don't ask to play with somebody that you don't know. If you're not spending time in their stream, if you're not hanging out with them, if you're not actively engaging with them, you have no business asking them to play with you, right? Like, I know plenty of people that that have spent time in my chat that I now play with, and people that I've known in the community, like yourself, like Veritas, Batty, Clean, like all of these people I've known for a very long time. So I wouldn't feel awkward approaching Batty and being like, hey, dude, you want to hang out, have some beers, and play a game, play some games tonight? But Batty'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do it, whatever. Like, I know Batty and I have that relationship, but like, if I don't know the individual and I don't interact with them, I have no business asking them to play with them, regardless if they have more or less viewers than I do. If I don't know them, how can you ask them to play with you? I think building that friendship, again, circling back to authenticity, it's very important that, like, if you were going to want to play with somebody, be that person's friend, be in their chat, support them, like, lurk their stream, come say hi to them, do whatever you can to like socialize and interact and mingle. And like, that's how you get the nerves off of your chest. And that's how you build those friendships that, could be beneficial. Obviously, it's not about growing your stream. It's about making friends with somebody that you actually value and enjoy. Yeah. Who cares if they have 20,000 viewers watching them? If you don't show them respect and appreciation, I can guarantee you they're not going to want to play with you. I've had people that only come around to ask me to play games with them, and then if I'm like, nah, I'm busy at the moment, or I already had plans with somebody today, they're gone. That sticks in your mind. That's something that you remember.
Yeah. And we've said it to each other, and not necessarily you and me, but I mean streamers in general, we'll be like, yeah, dude, has this guy ever asked you to play? And they're like, oh my god, he comes in all the time. And then it's like, oh, somebody else might be in the conversation too, and they're like, holy shit, me too. And we all realize, oh, mental note, don't ever play with that guy, or that girl, whatever. because of those interactions. I think streamers, especially in the Tarkov community, tend to talk a lot more than your average community. And there's been so many names that have been thrown around of like, oh, watch out for this person or whatever the case may be. So
right,
that's true.
I would say those people probably don't show up in my chat because I only play with people that I've known for a very long time at this point. Like, and even one of my buddies who was in my band at one point, I think he's on Evasion, Ash IV.
Oh yeah.
He used to play guitar in my band, and like as soon as I realized he started streaming, I'm like, dude, let's play Tarkov together. Like, obviously, it's built off of a friendship. I know him personally, so like that drove me to want to play and interact with those kinds of people that I know, people that I have relationships with, people that I can say, I've seen you in my chat a bunch. You're awesome. I appreciate you being here. If you want to play a game sometime, let me know. Not the dude that comes in that isn't following, that's like, hey, I might be brand new to Tarkov, but I was wondering if I could play with you. And then you like do a little research and you see that he's also streaming at the same time. And you're like, buddy, come on, dude.
Oh my God.
That's not how this works, man.
That's the worst. Honestly, I've had a few people do it to me where I'm like, they've been in my community forever. And yeah, like, why not? Like, come run around with me. And then
you do a really good job at that, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I do. We talked about this before. I'm at the point where, especially like later in the wipe, it is a full fuck it moment, right? Like you're just like, man, I'm just here to have fun. If I'm going to play, like everybody come in, like let's fuck around. And that's how the tournaments even came about. You remember streamer battles back when it first started? We were just bored and I was down to I'll play with a lot of different people, but dude, if my hair doesn't get set on fire when I find out that somebody is streaming and didn't tell me, like you asked to play with me and you didn't mention at all, like, hey, by the way, I'm streaming. And that's not just a like a stuck up thing. It's usually because I won't have push to talk on. If you and I are just bullshitting and you're not a streamer or you don't tend to stream, I would assume you're not streaming. I won't have push to talk on. I'll be flapping my jaws at chat and doing whatever and not even realize I'm just talking over your damn stream the whole time. Like I would feel horrible. And then vice versa. Where's the authenticity there of just a little bit of courtesy, letting me know that you're streaming?
Yeah. I guess I'm just one of those guys that's like, if I'm live, my push talk is always on, no matter what. And anyone that usually plays with me, if they don't have push to talk on, I'm telling them like, I need you to have your push to talk on because like I don't want to hear your dog in the background. I don't want to hear whoever's cooking in the kitchen. Like nobody wants to hear that.
So true.
Other people that are out here that are streaming with your friends, make sure your friends are using push to talk. Okay. Nobody wants to hear the pizza man show up. Well, maybe some people want to hear the pizza man show up, but all that nonsense that's going on in the background, like the baby screaming, the TV going, like people don't want to hear that. So make sure you remove that because that ultimately that is a hindrance to the experience of people watching you.
It is. It truly is. And if you do finally get to play with a streamer or, you finally got that, it's Batman and he's playing with you and you and Batman have been friends forever and a day, but you still won't appreciate all the noise in the background. I don't care how close of friends you are. Like nobody, like you said, wants to hear any of that. Yeah. So be respectful.
I've heard him chirp at his girls a few times when we're not streaming. So it gets kind of funny. He'll just all of a sudden we'll just be sitting there playing a game and he'll just be like, what did you say to me, you little shit? And it's just like, those times it's pretty funny. But again, I've known him for forever. So like, I wouldn't care if that happens. I think that's funny. But if it's somebody that's like, I'm not familiar with, I'm not aware of, it's a little awkward. So
yeah, that's true. So this question is my absolute favorite. I tend to ask it towards the end, but I did tell you before we started this, like if there's anything that you want to BS about or you think that new streamers need to know about that I hadn't asked, I want you to totally feel free to run with it. But this question is my favorite because it says you get to go back and tell yourself 3 things to focus on. What are they and why?
Ooh, 3 things to go back and focus on. First and foremost is taking care of myself. I didn't realize how much I was neglecting myself when I was streaming, putting myself out there for 12 hours a day and, you know, eating poorly, not getting enough sleep. So the first and foremost thing would just be to take care of myself better, like to have done a better job at doing that. Second would have been to not worry about the numbers as much. I really wish that I hadn't. When you're on that partner push, you can't help it. You were there, I was there. You're constantly meticulously looking at all that CCV data. I wish I could have just told myself earlier from the get-go to let that go. Especially like learning what I did about myself and a lot of the insecurities that I had. I would have definitely wished that I could have, you know, removed that element from streaming altogether for myself, because that would have just helped me mentally through so many different hurdles and challenges that I faced. And the third thing I would say is to just remember why you're doing it. Remember why you're going live, and remember why you're sitting in front of a camera and playing games and trying to have fun. Because a lot of people turn the other cheek when it becomes a business and it's all about money for them and not about like having fun, making friends, you know, playing games. Like, because ultimately that's what it is. If you took the money out of streaming and content creation, that's what it's all about. Streaming became lucrative at some point in time, and it changed my perception of gaming, right? Gaming for me as a kid was just about having fun and having an escape. When I jump on and play Halo with all my friends, when we played Battlefield and Counter-Strike, it was always about, you know, trying to have fun and have a good time. And ever since it became a lucrative business, that's introduced so many more challenges and problems to me, and has also taken a lot of the enjoyment out of just playing my favorite video games. You know, ultimately, I grew up playing video games. I love them. I cherish them. I love the stories. I love the experiences. But, you know, some of the gaming industry has, you know, been kind of tainted for me now, because if I would love to play this game, but as a streamer, like it, you know, it's not going to be successful for somebody like me. And that's the reality of it. And that sucks. That sucks that I can't just be like, I just want to play this game and have fun. Instead of it's, oh, I can't play this game because it's not going to get me viewership and it's not going to earn me subs and I'm not going to, you know, succeed off of this. And that mentality sucks. And I have been trying so hard to put that down by playing other games like PUBG, GTA RP, Drums, whatever. That's, you know, since I kind of put down Tarkov as like my main game, that's what I've been trying to find and accomplish, is to just get back to the roots of doing this because I have fun and enjoy it, and that anyone else that shows up also has a good time. That's the most important thing that I would probably go back to tell myself.
Those are actually really important. I don't think that I've ever had anybody answer. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I don't think I've ever had anybody answer what their first thing would be, like worrying about themselves and how they're treating their body. And it's so important because it will come back and bite you in the ass later. It's not even a matter of if it will, it's when it will.
When, yeah.
And, you know, if you aren't prepared for that, and then you said these words, you said, you know, if you take the money out of it, and I'm not going to name names, but I started having a laundry list of people just fly through my head, and it made me question, would that person still be doing this? Yeah. I truly don't know. I can't answer for all these people, but I feel like, that battle between, can I still play this game that I'm not enjoying and pay my bills, because I've now turned this into a full-time job, which is a huge accomplishment in general. And the fight to just want to go play other games and not have to worry about the numbers is something that you and I have seen throughout the years. And I don't know if we paid attention to it as much as we did until we started getting burnout. but I think it's something that is all over the place, all over Twitch, and people aren't prepared for it, like we had talked about earlier. And it's a real bummer because we have a huge love for this game. We have a huge love for the community. But god damn it, if I'm just not interested in doing it right now, I'm just not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Lucky are those that have, the interest to still play a game like Tarkov right now that don't have the hours that you and I have and that can still enjoy it,
Right.
After 10,000 hours, I can tell you, I don't care who it is that's streaming the game right now, I've seen it already. I've seen it. It's not unique. It's not interesting. Some of the things I've seen you do were pretty interesting, like the whole evasion thing, the mod stuff. I know you did a lot of that community nights where like you'd help various people from your chat like get their tasks done, things like that. Like you were always good at being creative and changing up like what you were doing. So like when I to be frank, I don't watch people on Tarkov unless it's like a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
unless
unless it's kind of switched lately for me too. I actually agree with you on that. I've been the queen of like kind of like the welcoming committee for a long time. I kind of wore that hat of like, oh my god, Dotty, by the way, this is a new streamer, but I think he's really cool, so if he comes by, like say hi. Like I felt like I was, I'm trying not to like inflate my own ego here, but I put a lot of work into trying to learn the community and the new streamers and help whoever was struggling. And after, 6 weeks ago, when I kind of just said, I don't even want to use the word selfish. I don't feel like it's selfish. I feel like it's logical. I'm going to put myself and my health and my mental health first. I just backed away from all of it. And I check in here and there. And I mean here and there by like maybe 15 minutes a day of Twitch, unless I am on it, whether Evasion's live or I'm live. Streamer Class isn't live. We don't stream on Twitch. But that's it. I've just backed off of all of it, and I'm just paying attention to a lot of other things that are going on that are way more important. And I think I don't just throw it all in the bin. We see a lot of people that just throw it all in the bin and then they're like, oh, I'm not going to deal with it anymore. Fuck Tarkov. Fuck whatever. I hate everything. I'm going to go mean tweet about it. You and I have kind of built up this rhythm now of like, yeah, when it comes back to wipe, let's see what's new, what's going on. I'll go mess around with it. And then, whatever else happens. And we're starting to find a rhythm, I believe. But it took us 4 years. 4 years. Yeah. People don't give themselves that many grace periods to learn how to deal with these things. How many streamers have you seen that have come in and streamed for 3 or 4 months really seriously, and then they're like, well, I didn't make it, and they just walk away?
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, especially it's particularly hard to do in Tarkov now because it's so oversaturated. Like there's some people that are still out there grinding and growing and doing their thing and like capitalizing on the fact that like there's nobody streaming Tarkov right now. I think last night I looked, there were 7,000 people watching Tarkov. Not saying that the game is dead. I'm just saying that a large portion of the community isn't interested in it anymore.
Right, we're in the lull right now.
Right, when you had a game that was obviously like the distinguished #1 game on Twitch, and now there's not even 10,000 people watching. The content is just not there for the game. And, here we are 4 years later, still waiting for the biggest promise with Streets of Tarkov. We still don't have Arena yet. I know that BSG is very hardworking, and I'm not discrediting them in any way, shape, or form. But with the pandemic and all the stuff that's going on, like the content for the game has kind of dried up. And the time span between wipe to when people fizzle out is just getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
It is.
Yeah. And so like all the big people that are still streaming Tarkov, I would expect them to still be doing it because they're successful and they have some financial gain to benefit from, which I totally respect. And if you can continue to find fun and enjoyment playing that game after that long, like you have the mindset that I wish I could figure out. Because when I die to somebody that's super sus or somebody that's just, running around naked with just a shotgun and, an empty gamma, I'm just kind of like, well, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it used to. That's for sure.
No.
Especially now that like 9mm is a joke and I can't pistol run anymore. So
Right, no,
that also hurts.
Yeah, you and your Glock, holy shit.
Yeah,
that's
make
true.
9mm great again, Nikita.
Is there something that you want to bring up on this, like open platform here? Talk to new streamers, talk about maybe some of the things that you've struggled with. Like if there's any topic that you wanted to bring up that maybe I didn't cover, like I just want to make sure that I give you an open floor to do so.
Sure. My biggest thing, I think, in my journey through Twitch and streaming is that I'm incredibly fortunate for the success that I found in Tarkov. Many of us should be. There's been some really remarkable accomplishments from a lot of us in the community. You with your evasion thing, obviously, like the whole moniker that I had earned with the Glock, like that was kind of cool. Like Pastilli doing his thing, Clean obviously being like one of the OG beneficiaries of the game. Like so many people have come out of this directory and just made a name for themselves. For me, it's important that, and it always has been kind of like the foundation for myself, is that I was never a one-trick pony. And I encourage people to not stick to one thing for your entire streaming career. If you want to have a long-standing, lasting career, make sure you have other ways to be successful or create content or have fun, because like the last thing I want to do is play Tarkov for the next 10 years. Is it a great game and do I absolutely love it more than anything else? Yes. But I'll be damned if I'm going to be running through customs getting the same dorm fights in 2026 that I was getting into in 2018. Like, let's be real. It's the same corners, it's the same angles, it's the same thing. So I've always wanted to find ways to grow beyond just Tarkov, which is why like I got an electronic drum set, which is why I try to do a bunch of other things with my stream. Success or no success, whatever. Like I just want to have as much fun as I possibly can while I have the opportunity to do this. And if it dries up, then I'll figure something else out with my life and move on. But for me, it's a lot more important now about just having fun than it is about chasing subs and dollar signs. Like, obviously, I want to still be able to support myself doing what I love to do and enjoy. And that's way more fun than working at a bar or whatever. But yeah, Tarkov is not the end all be all. It's a great way for people to achieve success and grow. But I think what's more valuable is the experience that you give as an individual, as a content creator, not just what you're playing.
That's so true. So I had somebody say, it was actually Pest. Pest said, well, what's your other thing? And I was like, what do you mean my other thing? Like, I'm totally streaming. Like, I'm doing really good at it. I think, I could be on the path to partner soon. And he was like, but what's your other thing? And I was like, I don't know what the hell, like, what do you mean my other thing? Like, I got a family. And he's like, you have to have something else going at the same time, whether it's building out your YouTube channel, building up your social media, whatever it is, like, you have to have another thing, because you can't, like you had just pointed out, you can't just put it all on Tarkov only. And I was like, damn, like, what the hell is my other thing? And my background is in event management and event organization. And so when the streamer battles, people actually enjoyed them and had a great time with them. And next thing you know, I was like doing them every weekend, and I was asking you to come co-host, and like, we were just trying to figure this thing out. I was like, holy shit, this is my other thing. Find another thing, whatever that is. If that is building up your YouTube channel, or creating a following on Twitch that is going to go and visit maybe a travel YouTube channel, like, you have no idea what else you can be building off of these two different platforms and incorporating Instagram or TikTok into it. But find another thing. I wholly agree with that. And then also, this is something that I try to say as often as I can, is you have two choices on Twitch. You can either be a streamer or a gamer, right? And if you absolutely kill it at a game, that's a gamer and people are going to come in and watch. But what happens if you get bored with that game, or you decide that you just, you know, like, damn, the game failed, nobody watches it anymore? So always be a streamer first. Always be interacting with your chat on a level that's above the game that you're playing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, those actual interactions are what's important. Like, to circle back to what you were saying about authenticity, that's where that lies.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, some people can just be absolute chads at whatever game and, you know, go pro and be professional. And like, that is a huge avenue of success for a lot of people that stream, you know, that play games like Warzone or Fortnite or Apex, like, or Valorant. There's a lot of people out there that find success, that are gamers, that are pros at those games. And then there's other people that just, you know, play for fun and enjoyment and create content out of that. So for you, I'm surprised Twitch Rivals hasn't knocked out on your door and tried to hire you on board.
What's a Twitch Rivals? No, I'm just...
I've seen you on those broadcasts. You're running the show over there when they do the Tarkov stuff.
They're so nice. Yeah, they're nice. I really do appreciate that they have reached out and let me cast as many times as they have. But
that's so cool.
It's definitely starting to feel like Evasion is getting to that level, to be honest with you. You know, when if you could see behind the scenes, maybe I need to post pictures of it, but Hotel's production setup, and then you have my setup that you know, I'm doing the social media and the graphics, and then you have two other guys that are behind the scenes that are literally just running different cameras that we have, as far as like what streamer this one might be on. And then you have BSG in the background monitoring the accounts and pushing different things, and it's absolutely mind-blowing. I can't believe that we came as far as we did, from me watching a multi-stream on OBS and bullshitting with chat to where we're at now. Like,
yeah, I want to say that Trios event was probably the most fun thing that I've done in Tarkov.
Wait,
the
so
Evasion Trios.
Do I have confirmation that you're going to come back to Trios for Evasion?
Yeah.
Oh
hell
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to do that. I want to do that stuff more than I want to actually play Tarkov itself.
Okay. All right.
Like doing that on a private server was the coolest experience, honestly.
Oh, thanks.
That felt so much more fun than any other event that I think I've ever participated in when it comes to Tarkov. I will say though, I think some of the scoring we were riled up about some of how the scoring went, but ultimately that was the best experience I've had with a group of people, like in that type of setting in Tarkov. And it's just like, you're going up against the best, you know who's in here, you respect your opponent, and it's not just some rat hiding in a corner with a shotgun, you know, like it's going to be like intense, and I loved every second of it. So that was by far the best event that I've ever seen in Tarkov's community, like bar done.
Damn, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like,
that's
straight up.
That's a big deal, especially coming from you, who's been in so many different competitive aspects throughout gaming. Like,
right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch. I like those types of events and like those situations like way more than Twitch Rivals or even Pestili's Punisher tournament. Like I won't do those. Twitch Rivals I'll do. I don't think I'll ever do one of Pestili's Punisher tournaments, but you get me on Evasion Trios, I'm down every time.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Up.
Okay. All right, good. I'll definitely mark you down then. I'll definitely mark you down. Is there anything else that you want on this recording, or do you want me to go ahead and like wrap it up and then you and I can bullshit? Like, what do you want to do?
Well, I don't know if anyone else does this. But I was gonna ask you like one or two things before we got out of here. So I don't know
okay.
I don't know if people ask you questions about your experience with streaming so far.
Sometimes, you know, I mean, like mostly in like we have a streamer class Discord, which the link is down below. So people actually interact in there quite a bit and ask questions. But I don't know if I've, you know, Batty's asked me a couple questions, but nothing crazy, more like Batty questions. So
yeah, I can imagine what some of those things are like.
Yeah,
I guess like what I wanted to ask you was, what has been your favorite experience as a streamer and a content creator so far? Like out of all the things you've done.
Ooh, so actually it is raising money in general for like and I'm not saying like, oh, I want this thing, chat, give me money, but I'm saying like anytime I've put out a goal for the battle mods, anytime I've seen somebody running Pest, I'm like talk about Pest and his fundraising for the kids. Mushu Dynasty just did something for, I believe, St. Jude's. Like,
Hashtag kiss a homie.
there you go. Like, damn, our community, that's probably one of my most favorite things is like, as long as you are straightforward, authentic, right? Okay, this is what we're doing today. Dude, the Tarkov community is bonkers. I think I've only asked for a few things ever throughout the years. One of them was raising money when we lost Red RBO, right? For his wife, and it was like flash, boom, a goal hit, above goal, like I don't know. So those are some of my most absolute favorite moments that I've ever experienced streaming. Is just raising money for people when they need it or for charities is like hot damn.
Yeah, I always love being asked to participate in a part of those events. The two that I always do are Gamers Outreach, which Zach I know does a really phenomenal job of raising money for kids in hospitals. He gives them like gaming equipment and carts that the kids can use and access like when they spend time in hospitals for their extended stays. And then the boot campaign, which I know a lot of the BRCC guys, Clean and them link up with and do a massive charity fundraiser. I think the Gamers Outreach just did over $1 million raised, and then the boot campaign did like $750,000 in campaign raised money. So like the Tarkov community has always just banded together to help out doing stuff like that. And one of the Tarkov OGs, Markstrom, hit like almost like $100,000 himself raising money for Gamers Outreach. Like, and that's like, and he does that all the time.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that kind of stuff. So it is really cool to see how much people can band together for like the greater cause.
Yeah, it's one of the most exciting things in general. Markstrom is such a professional, like on top of it, organized. Like when I grow up, I want to be Markstrom as a streamer. Like
that guy is nothing but class. Right.
And he still knows how to tell people to shove it far up their ass and make us all kind of giggle about it and move on. Like that's just 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really like him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been some incredible people that we've been able to see succeed, you know, coming from this community and this directory over the years. It's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely lucky. And most of them we call friends, you know, which is it's bonkers. If I was a brand new streamer right now and you said like you could call Batty friends or you friends or, you know, whatever, like I still would be like, holy shit, that's crazy. Okay, sign me up.
Yeah. And I'm hoping I could attend TwitchCon and get to meet everybody. I've only met a few people, but you know, I'd love to actually just sit down and hang out with everybody and like, you know, actually get to socialize with people in a real setting over like a drink at like, you know, a TwitchCon, at a gaming convention, whatever.
Right.
Like the friendships that I've made through the gaming industry have been the longest standing relationships that I've had and friendships that I've had in my life. So
yeah, I feel
that's what
that.
it's all about.
Yeah, I truly feel that. And by the way, is there any way that we can tell Gamers Outreach that there are some adults out there that would like gaming carts? Because I feel like the second you were talking about it, I was thinking all of a sudden like, well, there's a lot of adult gamers. Like maybe we want them, you know, if you're in the hospital for something. Damn, maybe we start a whole new branch of Gamers Outreach.
Right. Yeah, it's always cool seeing that kind of stuff. Anytime I see like them active on Twitter, like it's always so heartwarming, you know. All these amazing causes. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, are you good to wrap it up here?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right, guys, make sure that you check out Dotty Hack. I'll have all of his socials down below. He's an OG of the streaming world. And if you can catch him live, I promise if you have a question for him, he would be more than happy to answer it for you. Otherwise, you can also tweet him. So that link will be down below too. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Streamer Class. Links to everything discussed in today's episode can be found in the description. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Sigma, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Discord. We'll see you next time.